family is suing the police department and the city of Hickory for $26 million over an officer-involved shooting. Now, Timothy Setzer Jr.'s mother claims her son was killed in a police drive-by, but investigators say Setzer pulled a gun on them. Queen City News reporter Shakira Speaks has their message for officials.
The case really just boils down to law enforcement officers shooting a gentleman who was running away from them and was unarmed at the time.
Christina Tolley says she wants Hickory police officers held accountable for the August 2023 shooting of her son, Timothy Setzer Jr.
The narrative was that Mr. Setzer reached for his waistband and pulled out a gun, but the objective investigation that was conducted by the State Bureau of Investigation reveals that unequivocally Mr. Setzer was unarmed at the time that he was shot. So we filed a lawsuit.
The lawsuit alleges a Hickory police officer fired his gun from the passenger seat of a moving patrol car at a distance of 50 to 60 feet, hitting Setzer. Attorneys say officers fired about 30 rounds at Setzer, who they say was unarmed and running with his back to police.
The autopsy reveals that there was a gunshot to the top of Mr. Setzer's head, and there's no way for an individual to be shot at the top of their head unless someone's shooting down on them or as they're collapsing to the ground or on the ground.
On the day of the shooting, Hickory police said Setzer appeared to pull a gun from his waistband. The family's attorney claims body cam video and sworn statements to state investigators show multiple officers admitting they did not see a gun in Setzer's hand. The suit alleges an SBI agent recovered a gun from the scene 9 hours after the shooting, but the family's lawyer claims no forensic evidence linked it.
He wasn't the type of person to pull a gun on the cops. He was a good person. He was kind-hearted. He was just special.
Attorneys say they've requested the body cam footage to be released so the public can form their own opinion.
Good morning, and welcome to the Bad Apple Report. It's 7:30 a.m. bright and early right here at home on the range. Thank you so much for being here today, folks. I really appreciate it. We are going to start out going down to one of my favorite places on earth, the Florida Keys. I love it down there. We're going to talk about an ICE agent who is busted for DUI and child endangerment. Okay. Nobody likes those ICE agents. Florida Keys, Florida, an off-duty ICE agent was arrested Wednesday afternoon in the Florida Keys after being accused of driving under the influence and child endangerment. According to the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, deputies received a call around 3:24 p.m. reporting a vehicle driving recklessly on U.S. Highway 1 near Big Pine Key. Oh, dummy. Deputies then observed the reported car driving into oncoming traffic and swerving heavily. Oh, Mr. ICE agent, Mr. Above the Law. Wonder if he had a mask on while he was driving. Deputies then conducted a traffic stop and identified the driver of the car as Scott Deezeroth, age 42 of Miami. Scott Deezeroth, you're a dildo. Deezeroth then self-identified himself as a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agent. Like that's going to help you, buddy. Deputies say Deezeroth smelled strongly of alcohol and that he could not correctly identify where he was or where he was going. Probably because his head was straight up his... Anyways, additionally, deputies found 2 children ages 7 and 9 in the car with Deezeroth. Wow, they just found them there. What are these doing here? After failing field sobriety test, Deezeroth was arrested and the 2 children were turned over to a family member. Deezeroth faces 1 charge of driving under the influence and 2 charges of child endangerment. Okay, Deezeroth, you're an idiot. You made it on the Bad Apple Report, and we're putting you on the cover, buddy. All right, thanks for being here, folks. Let's move on with the show.
Chicago police have launched another investigation into Officer Carlos Baker as the result of our reporting today. Baker was already under investigation for the deadly shooting of his partner in June and an attack at a bar Sunday in Wicker Park. Now, a new probe for what he's accused of doing after the attack. Our Sarah Maki is uncovering the new information today. Sarah.
Yeah, Erica, this came about as part of our regular reporting this week. When we went to the neighborhood where this happened, an employee told us someone called their shop, identified himself as Officer Baker, investigating the Sunday bar attack. But that case, he's listed as a suspect in it, not an investigator. And that person asked for access to their surveillance cameras. Something experts tell us, if this is the same person, is not something that should have happened. Chicago police are investigating a Sunday night fight at District Bar and Grill in Chicago's Wicker Park. A 29-year-old off-duty officer telling them she was attacked by multiple people, including fellow officer Carlos Baker. An employee at a neighboring business who did not want to be on camera indicated Baker is using his position with police to launch his own investigation. That employee told us Baker called their shop, identifying himself as a CPD officer investigating the Sunday incident, one where he is actually listed as a suspect, and asked for access to their surveillance video. Not through CPD channels, not with a warrant, just directly from his personal number. That employee showed us their caller ID, Baker's last name and a phone number on it, a timestamp, 3:01 Wednesday, as news was breaking about the bar fight. We called that number.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
Hi, I'm calling for Carlos, and left a voicemail. Minutes later, someone called back, identified himself as Carlos Baker, and asked me if our restaurant cameras are working and captured video of the Sunday event. My name is Sarah Maki. I'm a reporter with CBS News Chicago. As soon as I gave him my name and said we were with CBS News Chicago, he hung up.
And officers on medical leave from the CPD do not belong out investigating anything or representing themselves as active police officers. Full stop.
David Harris, a University of Pittsburgh School of Law professor specializing in police issues, who has no independent knowledge of the facts of this case, tells us this is about public trust in police transparency.
What is he doing investigating that? How can that be fair? And one thing the public wants, they want to see the appearance of fairness, and they want to see fairness in action.
We were there in June as Baker arrived at a CPD location to answer questions about the deadly shooting of his partner, Crystal Rivera. Police have said he accidentally and fatally shot her during a foot chase June 5th. Baker was never charged criminally for Rivera's death, but was placed on paid administrative leave afterwards. Prior to the shooting, Baker had been popular on social media, though his TikTok account is no longer viewable. CBS News Chicago investigators have also found at least 10 complaints filed against Baker since he was hired in 2021. They include a variety of allegations, ranging from excessive force to improper stops to unprofessional behavior. We know at least one complaint was sustained by COPA, the Civilian Office of Police Accountability. Chicago police say Baker is on medical leave and has not been stripped of police powers, meaning he has access to things like his badge and his service weapon. But we were also told that any officer of that status cannot participate in investigations. COPA, the Civilian Office of Police Accountability, said they are investigating that Sunday fight. And Erica, they have named Baker as a part of that investigation.
Well, Sarah, thank you for staying on top of this new information, especially.
Of course.
Well, I'm not sure what to say about this bad apple. He looks like the type that might hold a grudge. And since he's going to be out in 5 years watching the Bad Apple Report again, he may come across this episode where I call him a big fat idiot with evil looking eyes. He actually looks like he's been crying. Boo! He just got arrested in this photo and he's just crying because he's busted. He's going to go to the pokey for 5 years. Former Kern County deputy sentenced to 5 years for actual battery and stalking. Don't hold a grudge against me, bro. I'm just doing my job. Former Kern County Sheriff's Office Deputy Michael Clark, that's his name. He's been sentenced to 5 years and 8 months in prison. The Kern County District Attorney announced on Thursday, Clark, who must register as a lifetime ex-offender, was convicted in June of multiple charges, including actual battery and stalking. The DA's office detailed that Clark's conviction stems from incidents in 2019 when he was acting as in his official capacity as a deputy. On June 3rd, 2025, a jury found Clark guilty of 2 counts of actual battery, 2 counts of stalking, 3 counts of assault under the color of authority, 1 count of false imprisonment, and 3 associated misdemeanors. The DA's office recounted several incidents involving Clark. On February 14th, 2019, Clark was called to a home in Oildale where he inappropriately searched a woman after arresting her. On April 14th, 2019, Clark responded to a home in Rosamond for an identity theft report where he asked the victim actually charged questions and later sent her explicit text messages. Despite her pleas for him to stop, Clark continued to contact her, leading her to block his number and move out of Rosamond. Okay. In another incident, August 14th, 2019, Clark, wow, he's really he's got a thing with the 14th. First was February 14th, then it was April 14th, and now it's August 14th. What's up? That's his time of the month. Clark offered a ride to a woman he encountered at an Albertsons parking lot in Rosamond. During the ride, he made inappropriate advances and forcibly kissed and groped her. Could you imagine this? The woman managed to escape after providing Clark with her contact information. The DA's office also reported that Clark frequently harassed employees at a fast trip near KFC headquarters, writing lewd comments on receipts and making inappropriate advances. One woman reported that Clark touched her inappropriately, while another described walking up to find Clark laying next to her in an area off limits to the public. Whoa! District Attorney Cynthia Zimmer stated that at the time of Clark's conviction, quote, a sworn deputy who made a promise to protect... we're not reading that. Court records show that on August 14th, shows that Clark was credited 149 days, 75 days for good behavior, and he will serve his sentence at Wasco State Prison. Wow. Okay. That guy's a menace to society. All right, he's locked up for 5 years, and we're going to move on with the show. Thanks for being here, folks.
That uncovered a scandal inside the San Diego Police Department. An officer is accused of installing hidden cameras in her ex-husband's home and putting tracking devices on his vehicle in an effort to stalk him. The officer denies the allegations, claiming the cameras were used to monitor their infant child. But as Team 10 investigator Austin Grabish uncovered, the officer has previously been reprimanded for hacking a phone.
Stephanie, can we ask you a couple of questions about the hearing today?
Officer Stephanie Cockrell wasn't eager to talk.
Did you install hidden cameras in your ex-husband's home?
At a recent hearing, a judge and an attorney for her ex-husband grilled her. Team 10 has learned Stephanie is accused of installing this spy camera disguised as a USB charger in her ex-husband's La Mesa home. Stephanie and Tyler Cockrell both work for the San Diego Police Department. Tyler says he found the spy cam in his kitchen back in 2021. And he claims he found other cameras under his bed and beneath furniture. He provided screenshots to the court of his ex allegedly installing the devices after she moved out. The veteran officer even alleges Stephanie, who he divorced in 2021, put tracking devices on his vehicle inside a magnetic box found by his mechanic. And he alleges his ex spied on his girlfriend.
Did you install a tracking device on your ex-husband's truck?
In a request for a restraining order, Tyler said, I am fearful of Stephanie and concerned about the close tabs she is keeping on me and my life through careful surveillance. Apparently so concerned for his safety, Tyler went to La Mesa police and asked that his ex be held criminally liable, according to this police report obtained by Team 10 through a public records request. The document says Tyler told a detective he thought Stephanie may have entered his home through a doggy door or by using a hidden key. The investigator took the cameras into evidence and forwarded the case to the district attorney's office, who declined to file charges. Stephanie, who would not answer any of my questions, calls the allegations, quote, wild, unfounded, and unsubstantiated in court documents. The 41-year-old says she's never broken into her ex's home, and the officer, who fought unsuccessfully to have her Amazon purchases kept secret, claims she and her ex purchased the devices to monitor their son.
If you were going to monitor your infant child, why purchase spyware cameras from Amazon?
As for those supposed screenshots of Stephanie installing the cameras, she says those were taken during a 2-week period when she was staying with Tyler. And she claims it was Tyler who would monitor her. Judge Charles Bell Jr. asked why she bought cameras for her brief 2-week stay. She testified she couldn't remember who bought the devices, which she claimed were installed by her son's crib and in the living room with Tyler's consent. The judge said a subpoena from Amazon confirmed Stephanie bought 11 cameras, a GPS tracker, recording devices, and a magnetic box, saying, quote, the things he found in his home were found in her Amazon purchase history. Under oath, Stephanie claims she couldn't recall purchasing spy cameras, a voice recorder, or that magnetic box Tyler says his mechanic found under his truck. Quote, "I've purchased cameras. I wouldn't call them spyware," she testified.
What was the purpose of the spyware and the tracking devices and buying that kind of stuff from Amazon?
The judge asked Stephanie to explain why she was near Tyler's girlfriend's home, saying, quote, "So you just happened to be on that street?" Stephanie replied, "I was looking for my son."
No comment.
In court, Stephanie's attorney said his client never installed hidden cameras. He questioned why Tyler was filing the restraining order years after the judge denied his original request to keep his ex away from him, saying it's awfully suspect to come to court 3 years later. This current court battle isn't the first time Stephanie has been accused of spying.
An alleged love triangle involving 2 San Diego police officers, now ending in an ugly lawsuit.
In 2016, she made headlines after she admitted she hacked a phone belonging to an officer she was having an affair with. His wife found out and blocked Stephanie's number. The fresh recruit to the force then had an employee at Verizon unblock her number. The wife sued the city and Stephanie, sparking a public scandal. The rookie officer, who then had the last name Audette, wanted taxpayers to cover her legal fees, but the city council refused. A memo written by the city's deputy attorney said not only has Audette admitted to violating the law and SDPD policy, these acts were not related to her duties as an officer. We don't know what discipline Stephanie received, but in 2023, she was on medical leave from the force, according to documents reviewed by Team 10. In a court record filed last summer, Tyler claimed Stephanie was under active investigation for substantiated allegations in February of 2023 for both stalking, theft, and untruthfulness. He claimed his ex was pending termination from the force. As for Tyler, he himself has had his own run-ins with internal affairs. Former police chief William Lansdowne suspended him in 2012 for using improper force and closing a door on a suspect's leg. The veteran officer didn't want to do an interview but told Team 10 in a statement his version of what happened. "I handcuffed a guy selling weed at an elementary school. Department decided I shouldn't have handcuffed him because another officer just told him to leave." In 2018, then Police Chief Shelley Zimmerman suspended Tyler again after he refused to give his family's dog to animal control after it bit Stephanie. He tells us Animal Services came 2 weeks after the incident, which he claims was days past when the agency was allowed to issue a ticket. Quote, "I told him the numbers didn't add up and to give me a ticket. He didn't, and the department didn't like it." Team 10 asked San Diego police for Stephanie's discipline records and to tell us if the department ever investigated the officer for installing hidden cameras. The agency refused to say anything.
This deputy's got that should not have done it look. Look at him. You know what? He should not have done it. He's a Cato Parish deputy. He's been arrested. Officials with the LSP say on August 11th, the deputy, his name is Frank Launer III. You mean to tell me there's 2 other Frank Launers, at least? Well, I'm sure if there's a Frank Launer IV, he's just as embarrassed as 1 and 2 are. With Frank Launer III, age 50, of Blanchard, who was arrested. LSP's investigation started back in May when investigators got reports from Louisiana Department of Insurance claiming Launer had committed auto insurance fraud. Investigators say in April, Launer was in a car wreck while he was driving his uninsured car. Officials say the wreck, Launer contacted the insurance company to get coverage for his car, then reported the wreck to the company later that same day. That is funny. Oh, Launer, you can't do that. They're smarter than that, Launer. Maybe Launer the IV will learn his lesson from you and not do something so dumb. Launer was booked into the Cato Correctional Center for automobile insurance fraud. How embarrassing. Okay, that's it for that guy. Let's move on with the show.
Every day, thousands of people make the drive to Las Vegas right along I-15, but now nearly 100 traffic stops over the past 3 years may be called into question.
8 News Now reporter James Schaefer going through hundreds of documents and also speaking with an attorney who has overturned several cases by the officers at the heart of this investigation. James?
Brian, Denise, 8 News Now obtained a confidential report and text between 2 Mesquite police officers revealing a moment when they complained about how often they needed to log their narcotics dogs retraining, then revealing that they, quote, may or may not be copying and pasting dates on official documents. The defense attorney who has overturned cases involving at least one of those officers now possibly moving to overturn more.
This has been an issue that I've been trying to bring out for a long time.
Stephen Liss, Clark County Deputy Public Defender, says he has overturned narcotics cases made by Mesquite's canines at least 5 times.
They all shared a common theme where it was a traffic stop performed by Officer Hughes.
Last year, the Mesquite Police Department launched an investigation into Hughes obtaining data from his work phone. One series of texts revealing the training for those dogs may not be accurate. Hughes texting in part, I haven't been very good about logging my training. I may or may not be copying and pasting my logs from a different time period and just changing the dates. The other Mesquite canine officer responding, about to do the same thing. I suck at keeping with my logs. When I worked narcotics, I feel like half my week was completing logs. Hughes in response, yeah, I've only been asked for my logs for court 1 time, and since this isn't for court, I don't think it needs to be exact.
That tells me as a defense attorney, I should be requesting it for every single case. I shouldn't trust anything that is reported to me either from the state or from the police department.
We looked into Hughes' dog, Rogue, a 7-year-old Belgian Malinois who has trained in narcotics detection in Utah. But is this a big deal if Rogue and Hughes are busting criminals?
If the evidence obtained is thrown out and there's no conviction and there's nothing holding the defendants accountable, then for lack of a better phrasing, they're just going to go out and do it again.
The Mesquite Police Union told us those texts were taken out of context, and the logs in question were simply notes, the investigation clearing Hughes. But records show that doesn't necessarily mean there was no wrongdoing found. In 2019, a different internal affairs investigation suggested several punishments for Hughes after an off-duty incident, the chief at the time reducing his punishment. That same chief alleging in a complaint that Hughes allegedly falsified 36 of his canine training logs.
For everybody to make their own conclusions as to why he got fired, here's another good one. I haven't been very good about logging my training.
At a January Mesquite City Council meeting, residents questioned why Hughes was ultimately terminated and then reinstated, those same texts leaking to the public, some fellow officers rushing to his defense.
Which is not subject to public information requests because it's not done.
If we can't fix and overturn the mistakes of the past, we need to make sure they don't repeat themselves.
Lisk says Mesquite's canines do work for multiple departments, including law enforcement in Arizona and Nevada Highway Patrol. But Lisk says reversing those cases isn't easy. For the time being, his approach will have to change.
And make sure that, hey, we are challenging things. Even though we see a certification, can we actually go in and say, hey, did he falsify this one?
Now, the Mesquite Police Union did respond to our story, saying in part, quote, the matter in question was investigated thoroughly by the department's internal affairs, and it was found that neither officer engaged in any policy violation. Now, we also cannot deny that Hughes and his dog Rogue have been a part of some massive drug busts for the area. But Lisk says the results may not matter if the method of arrest is inaccurate. Denise?
So, James, to that point, Officer Hughes and his canine Rogue were recently congratulated by the city on seizing 68 pounds of meth just on Tuesday. The arrest was made near the Arizona-Nevada border on I-15. A man from Minnesota was taken into custody. The city of Mesquite adding Rogue was deployed and alerted the officers of those illegal narcotics.
Okay, you guys, I think that's going to do it for the show today. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. And thanks for letting me take yesterday off. I was up to here with the bad apples, but I've also been doing a lot of cleaning and yard work and stuff like that. I've got family that's actually landing today, and they'll be here for a few days. And then my best friend from Germany will be here on the back half of the week for 3 days. So I'm going to try to keep the show going through all that while I'm driving around and being a tour guide. So you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for being here again. I really appreciate you, and we'll see you tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. bright and early. Have a great day.